So it's the start of June and the club championship countdown's on for most players. The summer nights are here, the ground's that wee bit firmer, and we know we're coming into the business end of the season. And whether you've been absolutely flying it so far or you feel like there's still more work to be done off the back of the league, you know that you need to get these next couple of months right if you want to come into the championship in the best possible shape. So in today's video, I'm going to run through how to do exactly just that. Firstly, we need to start off with what players actually get wrong, what they mess up, and then what they need to do to counteract that and actually get things right. The biggest thing that I see is players do next to nothing for the majority of the year, and then they think that 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months work before the championship is going to look after everything. On one hand, yes, it is better than just doing nothing the whole year, but you could be getting so much more from even slightly less intensity and less aggression, but spreading that out throughout the rest of the year and allowing it to compound over time. And when you bring that serious amount of intensity to a short period, you spike your load massively. You think more running, more speed, more gym work, higher intensity, running faster. You try to add all these things at once over a short-term period of maybe 6 to 8 weeks before a championship. And as well as that, from body composition standpoint, you might have a bit of fluff that you need to get rid of, and you drastically cut the calories. So as a result, we increase our training load, increase our training intensity, increase the volume. Our recovery goes down because we have such a high intensity. Club training naturally is going to be increased a wee bit in the build up to championship, and then even from a body composition, a fuel and nutrition standpoint, you're bringing that amount of food down, so you're leaving yourself in a deficit, running yourself into the ground, recovery's on the floor, energy's on the floor, and performances are ultimately going to be on the floor as well. Yeah, the effort is admirable. Anyone that wants to put in that intensity, that effort is fucking great, but learn from the last couple of years, that effort, that intensity doesn't last very long, or you can't sustain it for very long. So essentially all the above is running you into the ground and leaving you feeling like shit come either the first game of the championship, and you're thinking, right, I've done all this work, why am I not feeling in a good position? Or after the championship, when you don't perform, you just get knocked out and you're going, sure, what's the point? I did all the work there anyway. The reality is, yes, you've brought some short-term intensity, but if you bring that more consistently over the long term, it's going to stand to you so much more. And that's exactly what we're going to cover here today. So number one, we need to get really, really clear on where we want to be come championship time and getting clear on that vision. So what would the ultimate outcome look like for you? How would you want to feel? How would you want to perform? How would the body be looking? What's the energy like? What are performances like? What position are you playing? All those sort of things, like painting that picture as clear as possible so you have something to work towards. When you have that vision, then we want to assess where we're currently at and then figure out the gap. So where have you been at throughout the league in terms of your performances? How has your training been? What sort of level are you currently operating at? So a couple of questions I like to ask here is like, what's gone well or what's going well, and what's allowing it to go well? What's not going so well and why is it not going so well? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, like where do we currently find ourselves? 10 being like, right, we're at our max, we are county standard, all-star material, first player on the team, man of the match, player of the match, couple of games in a row. Like, that's an absolute 10. Where do we find ourselves on that scale of 1 to 10? Most of the time, you're probably going to find yourself in and around, somewhere in the round, maybe like 5, 6, 7. Not bad, not amazing, but there's work to be done. And then it's figuring out, like, what is the gap then? Is it physical? Is it skills? Is it maybe even like the mental aspect of it? Once we're clear on all that, then we can put a plan in place to, I suppose, bridge the gap from where we are to where we want to get to. The big thing here is like, yes, we can make a good bit of progress in a short amount of time, but the reality is that ultimate vision that you've set for yourself is going to take time to get there. We can't fast track it. You can't rush high performance. Yes, you can make short wins, or you can make quick wins, and you can make good progress in a short period of time. But the real magic comes over time when you're chipping away week on week, month on month, year on year, and that's compounding massively over time. But the one way you can guarantee to never hit that vision is to be inconsistent. On it for a while, off it, on it, off it. You end up just spinning your wheels and staying in the exact same position and repeating the same year's experience year after year, rather than having 10 different years experience after you've done your playing career. Right, step number 2 then. So we're clear on where it is that we want to get to. Now we need to put the plan in place. With that plan, the main thing that we're going to be looking at is the training side of things and the nutrition aspects, and then we're also going to look at areas that are going to complement that and make life easier. So when it comes to building out a training program, there's a couple of key areas that we're looking at. We're looking at our work on the pitch, our work in the gym, and then a recovery and that in between. When it comes to so many players, like they have either elements and bits and pieces of it, or they're really good in one area, neglected in another area, or they have an idea of, right, I need to do this, this, and this, but I just haven't a clue how to put that into place and how to put that into your structure. I got to break it down really, really simple. So you've got your pitch work, you've got your gym work. On the pitch, we're looking at our speed, and that breaks down into our speed, acceleration, change of direction, and then we've also got a bit of conditioning there. Now, naturally, with your team, the condition is going to be upped in the lead up to championship, but not all teams. Probably the one thing that teams miss is actually getting that element of speed work in. But the good thing is it's very easy to work it in. You don't need to stress about that at all. Then outside of that, we're looking at our gym work. So getting an element of our power, explosiveness, strength work in, and keeping the body strong and robust. The big thing here is that the gym work needs to progress as the season goes on. So the gym work that you did in the off season or pre-season, or should have done in the off season or pre-season, where it's higher volume, higher intensity, you're probably coming away from sessions feeling a bit sore, reps are a bit higher, maybe there's slower exercises, so you're going maybe like 2, 3, 4 seconds on the way down, the eccentric, and you're sore for a couple of days afterwards. We need to come away from that, and our primary focus now is being fast, sharp, explosive, staying fresh, making sure our gym work is complementing our pitch work, and is ultimately keeping us strong, robust and happy, and actually being available to be on the pitch. So how do we put that all together? First things first, we'll look at what's constant in our week. Our team training and our games. That's going to be a non-negotiable. It's set in stone. You're going to be on the pitch with the team at those times. With that, it makes it easier to fit everything in and around it then. So say, for example, we're training Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. Let's take that because that's our example. Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, you're already on the pitch. In order to get that speed work in, we don't want to add it in the another day where you're thinking, fuck, how do I get a full session in? We literally just want to get to the pitch 30, 40 minutes before those team training sessions and get that speed work in. Whether that's one day it's in a max speed focus session, the next day it's acceleration, change of direction focus session. Literally 30 to 40 minutes, 1 to 2 times per week is going to cover you there from a speed standpoint. Remember, when it comes to speed, it's all about quality of work, it's not about quantity, and that little and often of those wee bits 1 to 2 times per week is going to add up massively over time. So make sure you're consistent with that. The second thing then is, where do we fit our gym work in? Essentially, we plug and play our gym work around our training schedule so that we can get the work in, improve across the board, but also get that time to recover in between. So the biggest thing I would say here is, when it comes to lower body gym work, ideally get that work in after your team sessions where possible. So if we're training on Tuesday and we've got our speed work beforehand, our team training, try and get into the gym directly after for your lower body work. So then you've got your Wednesday, Thursday to recover before you're back out in the pitch on Friday. Obviously with different example or different training setups, you'll have to tweak this around a wee bit, but I've got something for you later in the video. Essentially, we want to keep our lower body work in as far away from our next pitch session, so we've got as much time as possible to recover, so we can be fresh and hit those outputs that we want from speed, explosiveness, and just bringing that intensity of training that we want to hit. When it comes to our upper body then, we can literally get that in any time of the week. As long as we're not going balls to the wall, we're not going max out, and it's not leaving you massively fried, you can fit that in any sort of day. You can fit it in a low day, you can fit it in before team training, you can fit it on a day in between sessions. Conditioning here is the big one. So probably throughout the league, you've probably realised, right, maybe I'm blowing a wee bit here and fading off towards the last 10, 15 minutes of a game, and the conditioning and the fitness is something that we want to bring up over the next couple of weeks in the lead up to the championship. When we do that, one, as I said, team training is probably going to reflect that. It's probably going to be a goal for a lot of the team, or a general goal from the management for the team, that players are fitter coming into the championship time. So naturally, your training demands with the team will increase. You're probably doing extra sets of runs, and that could be sweet. That could probably cover it. But if that's not the case, or you feel like you need a wee bit more, we can then get a wee bit of extra conditioning done. There's 2 ways we can go about this. If we're not doing conditioning with the team, then we can do extra on-feed conditioning in terms of like your tempo runs, and adding that in when we're already on the pitch, similar to when we're doing speed work, instead of having to go and add a whole new day, a whole another training day on the pitch. Or if you are doing work with the team, you're getting your speed work in, you're getting your gym work in, and it's like, right, the body's feeling a bit banged up, but I still need extra work, then we can look at our off-feed conditioning. When we're doing our on-feed conditioning, I would keep it on the days that we're already on the pitch with the team. On our off-feed days, we can probably do that either the day after a big session, or if we keep the intensity low enough, we could do it on a day in between 2 sessions, and it'll actually help with recovery while also getting that conditioning effect at the same time. So to summarise then, we've got our speed work before our team sessions, we've got our lower body gym work either directly after a pit session or on a day where we've got most recovery before our next pit session. Upper body work can go into the week wherever we want it really, and then our conditioning is either after team sessions on the days that we're on the pitch, or we're going off feet on the days in between. Now you're probably listening to this as a player and thinking, what is this man talking about? I'm only here to kick a ball about, or puck a ball about, play games, go to team training, and actually enjoy playing the sport. And I 100% agree with you. The way the game's going these days, the reality is you can't afford to not be doing the S&C side of things, but at the same time you're probably thinking, there's a lot of moving pieces to that, it's above my head and I just don't even want to think about it, and that can put players off. So we've put something in place that completely removes that guesswork for you, allows you to thrive, and all you have to focus on is showing up, doing the work, and then performing on the pitch. So I'm buzzing to finally get the in-season program out after the success we had with the off-season program. We probably dropped that 2-3 years ago at this stage. The feedback, the questions, I suppose the want for an in-season program to follow on from that has been massive, and now we're finally in a position to be able to do that. We had other focuses going on with potential performance, building the team, and changing a few things with our one-to-one coaching program. And I wanted to make the in-season program even better than the off-season program, and I fully believe we've done that. So if you want the plan, you want the structure, you want the guesswork removed, and you want something to follow day after day for the next 12 weeks and beyond, then get the in-season program with the link in description and let me know how you get on. Right, so now we're clear on where we want to get to. We've got our training program in place. Now we need to look at our nutrition strategy. With where you're at, we need to assess what the timeline is between now and your first championship game. If you're in a position where you have excess body fat and you're carrying maybe 5, 6, 7 kg, it's probably in your best interest to start dropping that body fat down. But we want to do that in a sensible manner. We don't want to drastically cut things that leaves your energy, recovery, and just overall performance on the floor. We want to do it in a way that we can chip away at it bit by bit and still perform at the same time. So if you check my most recent video, it's linked up here. Have a look at that, where we look at how to drop body fat effectively in season while maintaining performance at the same time. Now, if you're in a position where body composition is a good spot and you're just happy to maintain, then that's spot on. Our main focus then shifts to fueling properly for our sessions and recovering effectively in between. So again, you can still work out your calorie targets from using an online calculator. And then with that, we can play about with eating a bit more food on our heavier training days and then staying in around maintenance on our lower training days or our rest days. Step number 3 then, we're looking at our lifestyle and our habits. So again, this comes back to our overall vision, and is why it's so important you need to be clear on where it is that you're heading. Everything that we do off the back of that then should be aligned with that vision. So how we train, how we eat, how we live our life, the habits, standards, behaviours that we have day to day should all be in alignment with that overall outcome. Because in order to get to a certain level or certain place, the place that we want to be, we first have to behave and act and live our lives as if we're already in that place. When we're consistent with that over time, that's what leads us to making that progress long term. So if you want to be at all-star level performance, county level performance, you need to act, behave, and think that you're already there, and over time you get closer to that goal. So when it comes to your lifestyle and habits, I want you to think of these as the small day-to-day tasks that add up massively over time and make life easier for you as an athlete. So I want you to think along the lines of your sleep habits, managing your stress week to week, and what you're actually doing at the weekends, for example. So over the summer, there's so many opportunities to have social occasions, whether it's going on holidays, going out with mates, the weather's good, sure we'll have a barbecue, a couple of beers. The big thing here is like picking your battles. I'm not here to sit and say that you can't do any of that. You 100% can. I will be doing it myself. But it's picking and choosing when you're going. If you know maybe there's a big night out, or there's a holiday coming up, or there's a wedding or a big social event coming up with a team, and someone offers maybe a couple of pints on one weekend, the weekend before, it's like, nah, I've got to leave it this weekend. I know I've got a big one coming up. So you can still have an element of both, but depending on the level that you want to get to, the standards that you're holding yourself to, you will probably be saying no a bit more often than you're saying yes. If there's one bit of advice that I would give to players that I see skipped time and time again, is to have an actual plan and structure for your week and for your days. As an athlete, training is going to be a big part of that. You also have maybe college life, work life, family life, other things going on, other commitments, and it can get pretty stressful at times thinking, how do I balance all of this and how do I get the most out of it? Sometimes it can feel like there's not enough time in the week, not enough time in the day, things start to get missed, and by the end of the week we feel pissed off because we skipped a couple of things. The one simple thing that counteracts all that is by taking a little time to plan ahead and give yourself some sort of structure for coming into that week. So look at your non-negotiables, what you have coming into your calendar in terms of work life, studying, training, team commitments, actual work that you need to get in. Plan that into your days, plan that into your week, and when you just have that little bit of plan and structure, it makes life so much easier and increases the chances of everything being nailed across the week and minimises the risk of anything being missed. And then the fourth and final thing I want to chat about is mental performance. So when it comes to game day, like the one feeling that players want to feel is confidence. They want to be confident stepping out onto the pitch that all the work's been done, that they're in a good position, and they're confident in their own body and their own ability that they can actually get a certain level of performance. When it comes to that confidence, yes, there's a few wee tips and tweaks and a few wee things that we can do on game day to get us into a certain state. But the reality is that confidence comes from knowing that the work's been done in the background. When you've been showing up day in, day out, you've been ticking the boxes in the gym, on the pitch, with your nutrition, with your lifestyle, with your sleep, all those wee small things add up massively over time. And what they give us is, one, evidence that we've done the work. We're feeling better, we're feeling sharper, we're seeing our numbers going up if you're tracking them, you're feeling fresher, you're feeling more explosive. And then experience. When you've been playing challenge matches, you've been in training, you've been taking players on, you've been getting to the ball first, you've been putting in hits, all those wee small things add up subconsciously in the back of your head so that when you step out onto the pitch, you know the work's been done. You're not looking at the player that you're marking thinking, fuck, have they done more than me? You're confident in what you've done, you're ready to drive it on, and you're ready to thrive in the game, knowing that the work's been done, rather than just surviving through it and hoping you make it through the full 60. So that's priority number one when it comes to building confidence. It's knowing that the work's been done in the background and actually having executed on the plan. The second thing that we can look at is actually knowing your role in the team. So having chats with management, understanding what the game plan is, where you need to be, what position you're playing, learning that role inside out, taking the feedback from the management, putting it into practice in your sessions, practicing the games, reviewing that, and then consistently trying to grow and improve week on week. And then the third thing is one wee simple one. It's just changing your state and getting yourself ready to actually be able to bring that intensity and operate at a level that you want to for each session or each game. And that could be simple things like listening to good music, doing maybe a wee bit of journaling, thinking about, right, how do I want to show up for the session? What do I want to get out of it? What's my role? What's my job? What sort of person do I need to be? Because we all know how many players do you know where you speak to them face to face and you're like, fuck, they're sound, they're dead on. But then whenever you play against them in a match, they're a completely different person. Sometimes some people need to flip like that. Maybe need to go to a bit of a darker place to get the most out of yourself for performance-wise. So just having cues and triggers and things to get yourself into that state so that you can get the most out of your performance in the game. That's going to be individual specific, but for me, it's maybe a small bit of journaling, figuring out, right, what's the task at hand, how do I need to show up, what sort of level do I need to bring, what qualities do I need to bring to the game, and then maybe a good bit of music just to bring me into a different sort of mindset and different sort of energy. So there we have it. There's your game plan coming into the championship season here. It all starts off with having a clear vision of where it is we want to be. From there, we can put a plan in place around our training and nutrition, our lifestyle and habits that make life a bit easier for ourselves and allow us to actually succeed on the pitch, and then also a wee bit around mental preparation. Remember, the key thing here is everything that we put in place here needs to be aligned or see it as a stepping stone to getting closer to that ultimate vision of where we want to be come championship time. And yes, we can make massive progress in the short term here over the next 6 to 12 weeks, but the real magic is going to come year after year when you're consistent and showing up month on month, year on year, and going to a new level each season. So if you have already been doing that, then this video is just about adding those extra couple of percentages and keep doing what you're doing. And if you haven't been doing that just yet, this video marks the start of it, and don't let it happen again next season. I'd love to get your feedback on this one. Comment down below what was the most useful bit of advice for you. Remember to hit subscribe and check out the description for the in-season program.